and welcome to another Assorted Crackers podcast. This is Eric. I am here with Lee and Wilson, and we are here with a very special guest, Wilson's dad, who is also named Wilson. We're going to have to figure out as we go through this how to address him, but we're really, really pleased to have you as our first official guest on the show. Wilson, I will turn Little Wilson. Little Wilson, does that work for you?
I used to be called Little Wilson when I was littler than my father, and now it just shifted.
You're taller?
Taller, fatter.
Come on, man.
Well, I will let, if you would do the honors, introduce your father and let's get rolling. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
I like young Wilson and mature Wilson.
I don't know. Mature Wilson.
and we're going to pull lots of stories from your childhood out. So I'm most looking forward to that.
That makes me very nervous.
You should be very nervous.
I should be afraid?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, tell us about our special guest. Do you know anything about him?
Not much. Just kidding. So my dad is here. We're very excited about it. He grew up here in Memphis, lifetime Memphian. And so we're just going to hopefully pick your brain about growing up in Memphis, hunting, football, and whatever else, holidays, and whatever else we can pull out of your brain, memory bank. So I would like to start with where a story you told me years ago of when, and I want you to expand on this, but where your carpool from PDS forgot you. And so how did you get home living out, and I'll set this up too, because Kirby Road, for those who are familiar with Memphis, is almost to Germantown. And PDS is all the way in town. So that's for a young boy, that is a long ride.
It's 5 miles.
At least, right?
At least.
So, Dad, we'll start there.
Okay.
Start in your childhood and tell us what happened.
All right. I will build up to that a little bit if I may.
You please do.
I grew up on Kirby Road, as Wilson said, and back then, Kirby Road was basically a gravel road. It wasn't loose gravel; it was tar base with bigger brown gravel.
Yeah.
Steamrolled into it, so it was a rocky base, to say the least. It was between Massey and Germantown. It was out in the middle of nowhere. When you're growing up out there, your parents had to either import friends or export you to do things. So that being said, we had a carpool that folks that lived out and about, and we went to PDS, and I was in the 4th grade. And I don't remember the reason, but whatever. Our teacher got mad at somebody and said, okay, who did what? If nobody fesses up, we're going to hold the whole class over.
That is such a classic teacher move.
Oh, yeah.
No accountability. Just let's punish everybody.
But this wasn't your fault.
It wasn't me that did it.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
No, not timeout. I would admit it if it was, but this time it was not me.
Now we know where he gets it from.
But anyhow, it wasn't but about 15 minutes that she held us after school, and I don't remember who was driving, Miss Kopp or anyway. Said, well, where's Wilson? Oh, he's gone home with so-and-so. So she bolted. And there I am at PDS, Poplar and Goodlet. The school is empty with the exception of the office. I was trying to call home to let them know that.
Were you using your cell phone?
This was a rotary dial. Anyhow, so I'm sitting there and I calling, the line's busy. I can't get through. Well, I've got to get home. So I started walking. So I walked out Poplar. I get to what is then known as White Station.
Goodness.
At Mendenhall and Poplar.
So you've already gone a few miles, or close, well over a mile. Anyway.
So I walk into Bastolfi's Leadway.
What is Bastolfi? Is that like a grocery store?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Bastolfi's Leadway. Yeah, it was a grocery store next door to Dr. Burton's drugstore.
Of course. We all remember Dr. Burton's.
Sure.
So anyhow, still can't get through. So what am I going to do? I'm going to keep walking. Well, then the real dumb move is instead of walking on down Poplar, I cross over Mendenhall and start walking down the railroad tracks. so nobody can see me. Here's this fourth grade kid walking down the railroad
Fourth
tracks.
grade, 10 years old.
My parents are freaked. They have no idea where I am. The police are looking for me, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So I get to the corner of Kirby and Old Poplar Pike, and it is pitch black dark. And I'm scared to death. And I'm hollering and carrying on, and two guys, older gentlemen, African American, that worked around out there, heard me, and they saw me, and they said, "Wilson, is that you hollering?" I said, yeah, it is. So it was Grant King and his brother Joe, and they walked me home.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, gosh, I don't know, late by the time I got home. And my parents were not happy.
Sure.
Wait, now were they upset with you or were they upset with the teacher?
No, I don't think they even thought about the teacher. They were just scared to death. They were upset.
Absolutely.
Something had happened to you.
Yeah. Now, here's
All their worst nightmares.
the worst thing of the whole deal. Mm-hmm. My closest friend today and back then lived across Poplar in where the Woodlands is now. Why didn't I walk across the street to Frank's house?
Oh,
Those railroad tracks were just appealing.
Hindsight's 2020. That's a Monday morning quarterback move right there.
So anyway, that was a neat experience. And then as time went on,
Were you punished?
no,
Good.
I think they were just glad to get me home.
Sure.
That I was alive.
Wait, pause for a second to think about that for a minute. The two fellows, Joe and
Grant.
Grant, that walked you home.
Right.
I mean, good Samaritans.
Oh, they were unbelievable.
I mean, that's like angels stopping right there on the side of the road. I mean, you're a 10-year-old boy
right.
walking down the railroad tracks like a hobo.
Did you have a gunny sack on a stick?
If you had a cap sack on the stick, that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Is that the only time you walked on the railroad tracks? Or is this becoming a habit that we're going to see throughout the
that's the only
future?
time.
That was
Okay.
First
I
and
saw
last.
a train coming, and I got over to the side and was hugging some bushes as this thing went by at about 110 miles an hour.
Gosh.
It's not like they ride through town now at like 15 miles an
They're
hour.
crawling.
Then the other thing that was really cool about growing up out there is Green Trees wasn't there, and what is now Kirby Woods, which is east of Massey, where you got Hutchinson on one side, got MUS and then Hutchinson and then Kirby Woods.
Right.
Well, all of that was uninhabited. And so I could walk to school when I got to MUS and walk through the woods, or I could walk down Old Poplar. But what was really pretty slick, Green Trees wasn't there, and a fellow named Ryland Scott owned all that property, and he farmed it. And on Thanksgiving morning, my dad and I would get up and quail hunt where Green Trees is now. Or I could walk home from school, and if it was hunting season, dove or what have you, I could just get my shotgun and...
That you kept in your locker at school?
No, but I tell you this, unlike today, during hunting season, any boy at MUS that hunted had a shotgun in his car.
Absolutely. Got to be ready to go.
I mean, you could have it on a gun rack at the back of the pickup. You could have it on the back seat of your car. You didn't even have to put it in the trunk.
No doors were locked either.
No.
Yeah.
And I knew folks growing up that lived out in that kind of environment never locked a door.
Yeah.
So it was a different world.
For people who are newer to Memphis, they may not realize that quail hunting in this area used to be premier, correct?
It did. My dad raised bird dogs, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
And another thing that Wilson wanted me to touch on that he did that was fascinating to me growing up was he started duck hunting back when you could use live decoys.
Now, talk about that, because people who don't understand what that really means.
Say that one more time.
Live decoys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could either use mallards or you could use whatever, and there was a special breed of duck back then. I don't think I ever knew about them or saw one, but that they called English callers. They looked like a mallard, but they were just smaller. And they would call and do all that kind of stuff. You didn't have to put out decoys. You'd take a gunny sack with your live decoys in there, put a weight on their leg, which I've still got some of the leather bands.
That's
That
amazing.
you put on their legs and put a weight on it. pitch them out, and they would call and
Because
carry on.
they were smaller, so they couldn't fly away with the
Well,
weight on it.
they had a lead to their leg. They're strapped down.
they were smaller,
and a
weaker.
weight on their legs. So
No,
they
but you would
couldn't fly.
cut their flight, cut some of the feathers off their flight
the
wings
backs
so
of their
they
wings.
couldn't fly. And then they would just swim around attached to that weight.
In a circle, because it was on the left leg,
and
so
they-
they were circling left.
And they would swim around.
Yeah.
And they would call. And
And they'd say, come see me. And
then
Absolutely.
it was kind of cheating, really.
No,
Oh, come
no, it was not.
That's just like using a robo-duck, for Pete's sakes.
well, kind of.
Kind of,
Anyhow,
not quite, but
another
close.
thing that he
Less
did,
expensive.
it just fascinates the life out of me, which is an offshoot of the live decoys, is he continued raising ducks and Canada geese. He sent off to Kentucky somewhere and had a whole bunch of bands made with his name and address and that kind of thing on them.
Like the metal bands that go around their ankles or
Yes.
their legs. Yeah.
They go on their legs, and I've still got a bunch of those bands. But he would release some periodically every year. And he kept a log, and if y'all don't know it, a Canada goose mates for life. So anyhow, he kept a detailed record, and he was a decent sketch artist. And he kept records of the geese that he banded, band numbers, when they mated, if you will, and their offspring. And he kept a log, and I've got a number of letters from all over where people killed ducks and geese with his band on it. And matter of fact, he was coming out of Mallard Pond. I was real young at the time, and wading out of the woods, and somebody heard him wading. Somebody said, "Hey, is Wilson Barton up here hunting?" And Daddy said, "Well, yeah, here I am." He said, "Well, I just killed a duck with your band on it."
Oh, my gosh.
And you went, no, not my duck.
That's
The
incredible.
house pet.
That wasn't me. But anyhow, I thought that was kind of a cool story.
That's
That
an
is
amazing story. Well, and if I can relay a story to you, because shooting a duck with a band is a pretty rare and special thing. At least for me, I've hunted since I was a kid. I've yet to get a duck that had a band on it. But for those who don't duck hunt, those bands will tell you how old the duck is, how far it's migrated. I mean, you record the number and you can look it up and get all that information.
Well, it gives great detail or great information for DU or whoever to learn migration patterns.
DU is Ducks Unlimited, just for those guys.
It gives you a ton of information, especially just, age of the duck, all those kind of things. It's a neat deal.
It's a neat deal, and it's rare and special, right?
Yeah.
How many bands have you collected, Wilson?
I've been hunting since I was, 10, Dad? 10 or 11. And I'm 54 and I've killed 2. And the second one was today.
This morning, Wilson Barton got a banded duck. He did. We will put a picture on Instagram.
Yep.
Did you know that he doesn't miss?
Only on occasion.
That was when he was 10.
Yeah.
You know he's going to train for the Olympics.
He's going to be on the trap team. This morning, he was dead eye. I've never seen him shoot like this. Like you didn't miss. He shot one at treetops that dropped. So this duck flew right across my face. I shot and missed blind. Wilson was to my left. Brought it down. He didn't even know it had a band on it till he brought it back. I said, "There's some jewelry on that duck." And he looked. He said, "Wow." So the second band that he has ever collected was this morning.
That's awesome.
That was amazing.
It's a red letter day.
It was a great day. It was fun.
Yeah, well, I started duck hunting when I was 10, and I'm 79, and I guess I quit shooting or, that kind of thing, maybe, Wilson, 5 or 6 years ago. And
Yeah,
I've only
probably.
killed 2.
You've only gotten 2.
Yeah.
Well, your son's catching up.
Well, he is, and I expect him to pass me. If not, we're going to take a shotgun away from him.
That's exactly right.
Well, this may or may not be a true story, and you may know more about this than I do. Going back to the live decoys, the legend of the Peabody ducks,
Right.
as I understand it, started with hunters who were coming back from a hunt, went to the bar at the lobby bar at Peabody, and they had their live decoys, and they didn't know what to do with them, so they threw them in the fountain. And that's what started the idea of having live ducks at the Peabody.
That's a great story. I've never heard that.
It's written on the napkins in the bar.
Really?
Yeah.
So hunting for you. I mean, obviously you grew up doing it. Did you hunt with your dad?
Hunted with my dad. We never deer hunted. He was not a deer hunter. I'll come to that in a minute. But we hunted dove, duck, and quail.
Okay.
And then as farming techniques changed and the farms grew and the turn rows started taking over where fence rows were and that kind of thing, there just wasn't that much place for quail to hide. Plus, you had predators that were proliferating, if you will.
Foxes, coyotes.
Other than the Bartons.
Lee, you're a tough guy. I'm telling you, this is brutal. But anyhow, so, then the quail hunting began to fade away, and it turned into just dove and duck and then just duck.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I went big game hunting once on a hunting trip in Canada, which was pretty interesting. But the story, my dad didn't deer hunt. I don't know, Wilson, if you've ever heard this.
I may have, but I don't know.
He killed one deer in his entire life, said he never wanted to shoot another one. And but he was using a shotgun with buckshot, wounded the deer. It was sitting on its hindquarters. And my dad said, I didn't know any better. So he takes his hunting knife and he walks in head first to this deer.
Oh, no.
That now he's waving his front legs and all that stuff and cutting my dad's hunting coat with those hooves. And Daddy said he reached up, grabbed the deer by the head, cut its throat, and it started bleeding. He didn't know if he'd cut his own throat or the deer's throat.
Oh, my God.
So
Hand-to-hand combat with a deer.
They can get vicious.
He just said,
They get vicious.
That was no thrill whatsoever. I just don't ever want to do that again.
That was the end of his deer
That would
hunt.
have probably ruined me too.
Now, one of the things, you are, in addition to being our first guest, you are our first Alabama alum on the show. But you were saying earlier that at least at one point in your life, you thought you were going to Ole Miss yourself.
That's the only place I wanted to go.
Wait just a second. Say that one more time. I want to make sure everybody hears that.
Ole Miss was the only place I wanted to go at that point in life.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Anyhow, the long and the short of it was that I'd gone down to several games with Dr. Farrell Varner, who was one of the Ole Miss team physicians. He and Ms. Varner were two of the closest friends my mother and dad had. Although Dr. Varner was not a hunter, there were some others that were pretty tight. But anyhow, so that being said, I got ready to, Eric, I was telling you, I got ready to apply my senior year, and I wasn't going to apply to anywhere but Ole Miss. And the headmaster said, well, Wilson, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Suppose some act of God happens and you don't get in, then what are you going to do? I said, well, gee, Colonel, I never thought about that. He said, well, you at least ought to apply somewhere else. I think for a $10 application fee, you can afford it. I said, yes, sir. So my older sister was at Alabama, and that was the only other place after the story I told you about Sewanee that I was going to apply. And I went down there for one weekend. No tours. We didn't do tours.
Oh, yeah, no, that was...
You just
That's a new phenomenon.
And looked at it. And so I went down one weekend, met a bunch of guys, and fell in love with the place and never looked back.
And you've been Roll Tide ever since.
Absolutely.
So are we going to talk about, I don't want to get there too early, but are we going to talk about the fact that in the first 12-team playoff year, Alabama got left on the sidelines? How do you feel about this?
You said I'm brutal.
I'm going straight for that deer's neck.
I really don't mind answering that question. Sure, I was disappointed. As I would expect any football fan of their school would be. However, I don't think Alabama deserved to be there.
That's a very mature thing to say because it's hard to be a home fan and not.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love the Tide. I eat and sleep the Tide.
That's an understatement.
3 losses doesn't get you there, right?
Say again?
3 losses doesn't get you there.
No, especially a humiliating loss like we did to Oklahoma.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's got a good team.
They do have a good team.
And they had a great game plan. They played hard. We didn't show up. That being said, but
the Oklahoma loss, you feel like is the one that did it.
Pitiful. Okay. I mean, I think they all stayed in the locker room. I don't know. They couldn't have beat a grade school team that day.
Wow.
So,
An honest assessment, harsh but honest.
I appreciate that.
well, you're more than welcome. I hate to say it, but you know, I
I feel the same way about my Rebels.
Wait, yeah, we're a little little disappointed around here too. But I mean, I would say too. I mean, I was, growing up with y'all, diehard Alabama fan. I think, it's interesting how much you enjoy watching football with your parents and getting into that rivalries and the games and the excitement. See how excited, and then talking to Will today on the way home from hunting, and he was talking about how he wasn't allowed to, like UT or some of these others, because of what was ingrained in me. Like I remember you telling me you can go to any school I can afford and you can get into except for UT or Auburn.
I basically told Polly the same thing. She, this is our daughter.
So you have how many kids?
Two.
2 kids.
Okay.
Polly and Wilson.
Wilson's
Got
at
it.
Ole Miss. Polly has applied to Alabama and gotten accepted, and a couple others. And she had a little friend that was going to go up to UT to visit. And so Polly didn't want her to go by herself. She rode up there and gets home and says, "Gosh, that place is pretty neat. I think I'm going to apply there." I said, "Polly,
Did you have a stroke?
if you're going to apply to UT, get your mother to sign the check."
Not a fan. Not a fan. Is what you,
No.
Now, how did I got to
I'll tell
ask?
you why.
This
And I'm sorry, I'm dominating.
No,
this.
you're the
That's
guest.
the whole point.
You're the
When I was in
guest.
school down there, we were there with Coach Bryant and won 2 national championships. I was there with Namath and Stabler and Ray Perkins and all
Just a
those
couple
guys.
of good guys. I'm just hanging out. I'm just hanging out with.
Well, and look,
You're name dropping all over us
we
right
weren't
now.
bosom buddies. I'm just trying to set the tone.
No,
and the
that's
time
amazing.
frame.
That's amazing.
But anyhow, we won 2 national championships and that kind of stuff. And she wanted to go to, with Coach Bryant, Auburn was always a big deal. It's like Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Sure.
Everybody in the state of Alabama, they either love or hate each school. But for Coach Bryant, the Tennessee game was the biggest of the year. And he would hand out cigars in the locker room if Alabama won. I mean, it was big deal. And growing up here and having friends that would rag on me and all that kind of stuff, it was just a huge rivalry. And it still is for me. I mean, I'd rather beat Tennessee than beat Auburn.
Yeah.
So,
No, that makes sense. Also, because in the Bear Bryant days, I know Auburn had some decent teams here and there, but
Right.
my recollections, Alabama kind of dominated that
did.
rivalry.
They did.
But Tennessee had some good teams. They
They did.
they fought.
They did. And there were some great games. But it was just a fun environment with the transfer portal
Yeah.
and the NIL. It's just changing the college football world. And I don't know about y'all, but it just grates on me to sit and watch a game and every other player's name that the announcers call has been to 2 or 3 schools.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a senior and he played at XYZ before he came here. Well, the continuity is gone. It's tough on the coaches. I think a lot of these guys have lost the meaning of the term commitment. You commit to a school, they're going to take care of you, and then the next year you decommit and you bolt and go somewhere else.
Sure.
And that's just unfortunate. It's hard to keep that continuity of a team concept, I think.
I agree.
Well, and the way Bear Bryant did it, if freshmen didn't play, if you were a freshman, you sat the bench, you practiced, you learned the playbook.
Well, they had a freshman team.
Yes. That was how Archie Manning that's how he came into the picture at Ole Miss. He was on the freshman team and he was kind of unheralded until that year.
True.
Now you expect instant playing time. You expect if you're a receiver, you're going to receive a pass every play. If you're a running back, it's going to be a run and play every play. It's just all about your contribution, not the team.
I'm just thankful that we have hot takes from both Wilsons about the NIL. I mean, that's all it is to it.
You guys are very aligned on that.
I love that. I
You
love
guys
that.
are very aligned on that.
Well, I saw the other day where this kid, and I'm not blasting all that, but here's this kid that's Ryan Williams,
Oh,
just a dynamic football player, 17 years old, he's a freshman, and all of a sudden he's number 8 on the income list for the NIL at $1.8 million for a freshman, for Pete's sake.
yeah.
I I mean, give me a break.
Do you agree that they should get some kind of compensation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Look, because you've got these kids that come in from poor families, poor neighborhoods, that kind of thing. They got 3 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of shoes, and that's it. Yes, they ought to be able to get some sort of stipend or some sort of that kind of thing.
Right.
But this big money stuff is just crazy.
It is
in my
crazy.
opinion.
No, we all agree on that one.
Because, yeah, I mean, Eric, if you're at XYZ school and you're not getting the playing time you want, and ABC school offers you twice as much money, you're gone.
You're gone in a minute.
And that's a shame.
And then it's like the Marshall team I just saw that the whole team is entering the transfer portal.
Coach left.
The whole team.
Yeah, the coach left, and they liked the coach, I guess, and they said, okay, we're all leaving. The entire roster, right?
And they
the
just
entire
won the
roster
conference championship.
I think it was just the stars.
enough they couldn't field a team for a bowl game.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Most of the
That's
starters.
bad. It's bad. They need to do something.
So let's take it back. I mean, it never occurred to me as you're telling your stories that you were at Alabama during the golden era. I mean, Nick Saban's amazing.
Oh, he is.
But Bear Bryant will always go down as the greatest coach.
Ken Stabler, Joe Namath.
Oh my! Yeah, you're just rattling off these amazing
rattle off
names.
some more names while you're at it.
But I gotta. So is there one game that stands out for you
For me,
when you were an undergrad that you got to sit through that was just an amazing game?
how about all of them?
Yeah. I mean,
No, I'm
So
sorry.
what was the game like? Describe the game for us.
First of all, you're fired up about the game. You're fired up about who you're playing. Game day, how's the weather? Of course, Denny Stadium, as it was back then, was a lot smaller. Who's going to save seats in the student section for us? Who have I got a date with to go to the game?
Wait a minute.
don't you have a big purse?
That was where I was going. That's how Eric decided who he's going to take to a game, is she had a big purse.
Because you could sneak a pint of Jim Beam into the game if the girl had a bigger
I'm
purse.
with you.
Just one pint.
They weren't that tough when I was there. Hip pocket flask would work.
Oh my gosh!
Nice.
The golden era.
But
We're getting just a glimpse.
that's exactly right.
I'm glad my parents are not listening to this.
They're listening. They're listening.
That being said, game day was a big deal. We didn't have the Grove. People would gather at the fraternity houses or on the quadrangle, that kind of thing, and then walk to the game, then party afterwards. But just game day was an exciting deal.
Yeah.
Were you at the Alabama Liberty Bowl when Bear Bryant won his final game?
I was.
Tell me about that. Because it was probably cold.
It was colder than the crowd, I'm telling you. Coach Bryant looked like an Eskimo. But, I mean, it was really cold.
Well, you were on the Liberty Bowl committee.
Yeah, I was on the hospitality committee for several years. How I got to do that is beyond me, but it was a great experience. And
They wanted to pull Alabama in.
you got it. That's
Whatever
exactly
it
right.
takes.
But, so, yeah, I was there for that last, and I'll tell you a minute about the hospitality committee, but I was there for Coach Bryant's last game. I was there for the LSU coach that was there for so long.
Charlie McClendon.
Yeah, I was there for McClendon's last game. And the hospitality committee, what was neat about that was a room that they had for just press and working press and coaches only. So they would have 3 or 4 of us in there to bartend or to tell coaches or press where to go to eat or all this, that, and the other. So, you got to meet a lot of really neat people.
So you get to be a part of a bunch of big games. That's,
I did.
That's awesome.
But, I guess one of the neatest things
I'm getting more jealous by the minute. I really am.
was getting to meet those guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially some of the assistants that, I saw play, for instance, when LSU was there. This will be a little bit before y'all's time, but that was when Billy Cannon.
Don't say that around us, please. Change the subject.
No, he had to bring it up.
No.
You threw the dart. You threw the first dart at him when
This
you
is
said
not-
something
this is
about
not gonna be
Alabama
ugly.
not going to a bowl game. He has to bring up Cannon.
No, this is not going to be ugly, I promise you.
Okay.
Anyhow, if you boys from Louisiana will remember Billy Cannon, of course.
Absolutely.
Do you remember the other running back?
I don't.
Scooter Purvis?
I feel like I would have remembered that, but I don't.
I remember him.
Scooter Purvis.
I remember him like nobody's business. And I walked out of the hospitality room to go down the hall and met Scooter Purvis. I'll never forget that because I was so impressed with him. I mean, Billy Cannon was awesome.
Sure.
Just Scooter Purvis playing behind a guy like that, and he was about this big.
I'm gonna have to do some YouTube for Scooter Purvis.
We're going to figure out all the background on Scooter.
But anyhow, so yeah, that was a really neat experience, and I was there with when Georgia came, and they were going to take each team to a different place to eat the night before the game, or 2 nights before, one here and then the next. So anyhow, they were going to have dinner at the Heartbreak Hotel, which is right across from Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's appropriate.
And we went down there, and it was another guy and me. And so they were going to take the team across the street to Graceland. And the police escort, I'm sitting there drinking coffee, and the police escort says, well, aren't you going to go? And I said, well, I don't think so. He said, have you ever been to Graceland? I said, no, sir. He said, you need to go for 2 reasons. 1, you had never been, and 2, it's free.
That's an excellent point.
And you only had to go once.
Yeah, a third reason is nobody else is going to be there but the team.
That's kind of cool.
The show. Yeah.
So
that's cool.
That was pretty nifty.
Yeah, that is cool.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt just for a second
Sure,
because
please do. Give me a break.
in your age bracket, everybody has an Elvis story. So I know you
Certainly
have an Elvis
Memphians.
story. So if you would please tell us your Elvis Presley story.
Wait, you're dropping another name? Elvis?
Wilson dropped that.
All right.
He's just answering a question, Lee. He's just answering a
I know.
question.
I want to hear the Elvis story.
Back then, before he bought Graceland, he lived on Audubon Drive,
Right.
Okay.
which is off of Park Avenue, across from the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
2 of my classmates lived on Audubon Drive.
Okay.
And Elvis, every so often, would come out and play touch football in the yard across the street because they had a pretty big front yard. And he would play with the neighborhood kids and that kind of deal and play football. So anyhow, one of my friends and I hung around after we played a little bit. And he said, well, why don't y'all come on to me and this other guy? He said, why don't y'all come on back and sit down by the pool?
Why, yes, I will.
Who says no to that?
Saying, okay. So anyhow, we go back there. And
Was this before he was a big deal?
for who's a big deal?
Before Elvis was a big deal.
It was before he bought Graceland.
Okay.
So he was a pretty big deal.
He was up and coming for sure.
I mean, he was hitting it.
Yeah, I mean, he had graduated from Sun Records
Okay.
to RCA.
RCA.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was.
All right.
That was big deal. That was big deal territory.
Big deal. Yeah.
But, he was still, he wasn't the Las Vegas superstar at that point.
Right.
This is before the Army, or after?
I don't remember.
It would have been. It would have been before because I think Army is about the time he got Graceland.
right.
Okay. So we go back and we were sitting around the pool, and there's Mr. Vernon and his mother, and Elvis sitting there on there. Just remember, he was just sitting there on his knees, just doing it.
He's shaking his legs, just like he does on stage.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So everybody listening,
So we
he had
visited-
one leg shaking pretty hard.
We visited with him for a little while, and then we had to go back to Bubba's house because it was time to go home. And I just remember it was amazing. There's all these girls out at front, and there was a gate across his driveway.
And he had music notes on that one, if I recall,
And
as well.
the yard was naked between the gate and as far as you could reach in, where the girls were reaching in and pulling up grass.
So it was just the yard.
Grass.
Yeah, no,
That was
nobody else
naked.
was naked.
Okay,
I
just wanted to be clear for those that are listening.
I'm sorry, I'm out of control here.
No, Lee is out of control. You're great.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lee's going where he shouldn't go.
Which is kind of what he does. That's his
Couldn't
thing.
help it. Couldn't help it.
They
I just want
were
to make
just
sure.
pulling up grass so that they could carry it home and that kind of stuff.
Have some Elvis lawn
Yeah.
in their pocket.
Yeah.
Wow.
So did you feel special?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I wasn't, I wasn't that hung up.
I understand. But, I mean,
That's amazing.
I've just heard lots of people talk about their Elvis story of your generation. And so I just figured
I don't know
it'd
anybody
be
that's
worth talking about. Everybody's got to have an Elvis story.
But he's the only one I know that's gone and hung out by the pool with him.
There you go.
You're the first person I ever met that's hung out with Elvis at the pool.
I'm sure there are a lot of others.
I feel,
Let me just say this, Lee, I wasn't much of a contributor.
Well, but
You just
but
hanging
there were
out.
ladies trying to grab the grass outside. I mean, surely there's some crumbs.
So we've taken a lot of your time, but one of the things I do is I bring it a little bit deeper. So the whole purpose of this show, if you've listened to us,
Every time.
we love to talk about traditions that we pass on to our children and how we try to mold them, influence them, shape them to the best we can. All of our children are grown. But since we've got you, what are some of the ways that you tried to really, what are the values and the morals and the things that you wanted to impart into your children as you raise them? And if you got a story about Wilson to throw in, that's a bonus.
You can leave that out, Dad, anytime. Let's talk about Polly.
Wait, time out. Which can I leave out?
Wilson stories.
Wilson stories. You can talk about Polly, but don't talk about me.
Wait just a second. Just tell us how you were intentional first. What was it? You had a good relationship with your dad, right? And your dad taught you how to hunt and fish and do what you needed to do.
Right.
And you learned a lot about life, right?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, I believe so. Obviously, I know your children, and so I'm going to say, I think you must have done a good job. So how were you intentional with them when you were raising them?
I think for the most part, for both of them. Mm-hmm. And I will include my bride Ann in this, is how we try to do.
That's the only way.
Is we tried to instill a strong feeling of right and wrong and what's morally correct, to be honest, to have integrity, to tell the truth, try and set an example, both visual and attitudinal, on how to deal with people. But the main thing to me is it doesn't take a lot of effort to A, be courteous, B, to be honest, and to tell the truth.
Courteous, honest, tell the truth.
Yeah. I don't know that Ann and I she was much more so than me, I'm sure, a shining example, but we tried to instill that.
Yeah. I think it's always better to be a better coach than a player.
It's a lot easier sometimes.
It is a lot easier.
Well, we give your son a hard time. He gives us a hard time back. But
I've noticed that.
Well, it's a mutual appreciation. But to hear you talk about honesty and integrity, this is your son. This is what we love about him. He's turning red. But
could be the bourbon.
So point being, as parents out there, it matters. You know, what you focus on and what you pay attention to and what you talk to your children about really does shape them.
It does. And to teach respect for others' opinions. Sure, you're going to disagree with folks all the time. I mean, I do every day. But I try and respect, and if I disagree, I try and I think I've taught Wilson and Polly this.
You did.
To try and not be ugly about things. Just say, well, Lee, I don't mean to beat on you, but just to say,
sure, Lee,
I don't agree with that, and this is why, rather than, come across as some moron.
And we are, as a society, I'm not going to get too philosophical here, but we don't know how to disagree anymore. There's too much, like, you don't agree with me, then I don't like you. I can't talk to you. I can't be in the same room with you. And that's a problem.
That is a problem.
It's a huge problem.
We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different points of view. We should be able to talk about that and not, isolate ourselves from people who think differently than us.
When Wilson got out of line,
you knew you was going.
You mean every day?
Or Polly. Now, I find it hard to believe Wilson got out of line very often. He's a rule follower.
He is.
So how do you deal with a delicate situation? Somebody did something, they got to learn from that. I mean, how did you deal with that?
Oh, it's tough. I tried to, and I'm sure Wilson will correct me, but I just tried to explain the situation why it was wrong and what you need to do to correct it.
Right.
Just get over it, get out of the way, be mindful of what you've done and why it's wrong and why you don't want to do it again.
I love it.
I've got a perfect example of that.
Tell us, Wilson.
So Dad had been working in the yard. He'd been using the edger, and it had gotten quite hot. And so I grabbed the muffler.
That's a great idea.
Whoa.
Great
You
idea.
grabbed the muffler when it was hot?
I didn't know it was hot. I just, what's this?
And
Dad looks at me, and I was like, that hurt. That
did
hurt.
you say a bad word?
Well, if I was old enough, I probably would
Did
have.
you say, "Oh fudge"?
But he goes, "That's hot, isn't it?" I said, yes, it hurts like crazy. And he goes, "You're not going to do that again, are you?" It's like, no, I don't think I will.
And that was the last hot muffler you ever touched.
So wait a minute. That was the same thing he said when I gave him a taste of this bourbon.
We're back to the top.
Let me tell you this.
We're back to the top.
As a parent, y'all have probably all seen this, but you can cave just as easily as you can correct.
Oh,
That being said, I don't know how old Polly was, but she was little. And she was really over the edge on doing stuff she shouldn't be doing. So Ann corrected.
Not my sister.
This does not mean to.
she's a loyal listener, right?
This doesn't mean to beat on my daughter. But anyhow,
She's amazing, though. Let's
She
be
is.
clear. Let's go on for the record. Everybody loves Polly.
thank you. But she, like I say, had done the same thing over 2 or 3 times, and Ann had corrected her, and I said, Polly, if you do that again, you and I are going back to the bedroom, and I'm going to take care of this. You understand me? She looked at me and nodded her head and did it again. So I just picked her up, and I started walking down the hall, and she's small enough to where I'm holding her like this, and she pulls back and looks me right in the eye and said, I am so sorry, sweet precious daddy.
Hey, that's a daughter move.
You know what I did?
That
Was
is a
that the
daughter
cave?
move.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
case.
okay. I turned around and gave her the hand, and I said, you take care of it.
That's awesome. Go, Polly, go. That's
done.
awesome.
Well
done.
done.
Polly was extremely smart.
Brilliant.
She's
awesome.
brilliant. I love that. I love that. That's awesome.
Well,
So-
Wilson, we said this at the beginning. I mean, of the 3 of us, you're the only father we have, and so being able to come and share these stories and help us kind of make these connections has been so powerful and so entertaining. While I'm trying to wrap this up, Lee is begging for one more
I got
question.
one more question, and this is so important. You're not only a father, you're a grandfather, and you're a great grandfather.
Scary, isn't it?
I mean, so this is one more moment for you to tell something really important other than to be respectful and all that. What do you want your great grandchildren and your great great grandchildren to know about you? Because this is memorialized.
Well, can I come back?
You can come
Absolutely, you
back.
can.
You can come back anytime
No,
you
I'm-
want.
I'm-
We are
Episode
so thankful
chapter 2.
and so kind and love.
No, y'all
loving
are so
you here.
nice. Y'all are so nice. And I can't tell you how flattered I am and how much I appreciate being here and having the opportunity to be part of this.
Did you ever think you were going to be on a podcast ever?
I didn't know what a podcast was till you started.
Neither did we 6 months ago, so don't feel bad.
But that being said, I think what I would like for them to remember me as, say, well, he was a straight up guy. And if I can be remembered as a straight up guy and being a God fearing man and a good husband, a good father, and a good friend, that would be very important to me.
That's all we can ask for right
love
there.
that.
That's some good stuff.
And we have it on record.
If that's that, I don't know what else. I don't know what else could be ever said other than that.
Yeah.
Eric, wrap this thing up,
I'll
man.
do
This
my
is
best,
awesome.
man. I feel like now I need to pause and ponder, but I won't. So
I got to wipe the tears.
I got to seriously thank you so much for just coming in today.
Oh, thank you,
and sharing these stories. We might have to do this again. I'm just going to throw that out there.
You're
Yeah, 'cause
welcome. You're welcome.
there's more stuff we could talk about for sure.
We've gone, 50 minutes? I feel like we could go another hour, but that wouldn't be fair to you, and it wouldn't be fair to
That
Bill.
wouldn't be
who's
fair to
producing
y'all if
this.
I had to talk for those.
You've been wonderful, and you are welcome back anytime. You are definitely a cracker with us.
Boy, what greater memory than to be a cracker.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will tell you, I enjoyed this a lot. This has been a really fun day. We want to hear from you, as always. If you've got stories and memories that you want to share, that's what this podcast is all about. So let us know. Send us an email first and foremost, because Lee is trying his best to interact with you at 3, that's the number 3, assortedcrackers at gmail.com. We will absolutely respond. We will take your show ideas or episode ideas. We love doing that. And we will be posting pictures all the time on our Instagram account. That's also 3 assorted crackers. Come join us, come follow us. And here's the other thing we'd like your help with. In addition to giving us ratings, we love positive ratings, share our episodes. We want more and more people to start to follow us. We've started to see a nice swell of growth and followers. We want more and more people to find Assorted Crackers. So help us do that if you will. Until next time, guys.
Don't be afraid to try new flavors.
And
Don't go stale.
hear, hear.
Thank y'all so much.
Oh man, this is more than I would
I
expect.
can't tell you what
This is
this
more than I
means
would
to me.
expect.
That was fun.
I need a hug. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh, that was
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you
so
so
much.